Sorry about the slurping, I'm drinking tea. Get used to it. Rightio. I'm gonna reveal myself in a moment. If anybody's tuned in already, please come and say hello and let me know if my audio balance is okay. If the music's too loud, I'll turn it down. I have a feeling it might be, so I'm just gonna drop it down to, like, I don't know, there. Seems reasonable. Right, let's show up on screen. Hello. Hope everybody's doing alright. Hope everybody's having a nice Tuesday evening. And yeah, I'm going to try something a little different tonight. Yeah, I've been meaning to do... I want to do some music videos. I want to do some stuff about music that I like. And I've been umming and ahhing about doing bits and bobs here and there, but this seemed like the easiest way to set something up and have a little informal chat about some stuff I like. I was thinking of doing like YouTube shorts or something, but I don't know, maybe I still will at some point. Don't know if it'll be a regular thing, just want to diversify a little bit. I like a lot of music, and I don't really get to have a chance to talk about music too much. So I thought it would be fun to do something like this. So we're going to rank the albums by The Offspring, who are one of my favourite bands. I think the common consensus seems to be that the 90s were a time when there was a lot of punk on the radio, and as a result there are a bunch of bands that people associate with that era, kind of gateway bands. The Offspring's obviously one of them, Green Day's another, NoFX and Rancid are kind of the big ones from that era. While I like some of those bands, The Offspring were my band. They were my gateway. They were one of the first CDs I bought with my own money was an Offspring CD, which we'll get around to. So yeah, that's basically the setup for this. And yeah, we're going to go through each album chronologically, have a little chat. I've got a little notepad here so I can, you know, take notes and let you know my thoughts. I'm going to try and like rate them first before I put them on the tier list. And it will be one album per thing. I'm doing they've got 11 records and we're going to do them in order. I'm not doing tiers. I'm not, you know, putting albums on the same level. They are getting a specific place, but I want to go through them first, rate them, how I feel about them, find out tracks and stuff like that, have a little chat, and then we will, yeah, make a rank list. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, cool stuff. So we're going to crack on with the first record. So I've got their discography up on Discogs here. So we're going to kick off with The Offspring by The Offspring, released in 1989. So let's make a note of that quickly. Let's do it like this. The Offspring. The Offspring. 1989. Here is that album. There you go. That's my copy. That is a reissue from 1995. if we look here, you'll notice that this is the original album artwork, which features an alien from Aliens bursting out of the chest of a punk rocker, and the alien is holding a guitar and probably shredding some hot licks. So yeah, so that is the original album cover. Album was originally released on vinyl and cassette. I don't have an original pressing. They're incredibly expensive. So I've got, yeah, this 95 CD re-release, which is legit. This came out on Nitro Records, which is a label run by Dexter from the Offspring. They released some stuff. Their most famous alumni is probably AFI. They were on Nitro Records for a hot minute. But yeah, so this is the first incarnation of the Offspring. Well, I don't say the first, but probably the longest lasting, the classic lineup, which is... Here we go, remember timeline. So it's got Dexter, Noodles, Greg, and Ron. Their original drummer James does co-write one of the songs on this album, but he is not featured as a player on the record. That's Ron himself. But yeah, these four are basically the first incarnation of the Offspring that recorded and released music. And yeah, we'll be looking at them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 records by the looks of things. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, so the Offspring, the debut album, 11 tracks. Jennifer Lost the War, great song. Elders, great song. Out on Patrol, Crossroads, Demons, Beheaded, great song. Tehran, great song, also re-recorded later as Baghdad. A Thousand Days, Black Ball, great song. I'll Be Waiting, and Kill the President, which is another great song. Kill the President is kind of yeah, not featured on a lot of reissues, later ones, mainly because I don't think they wanted to get in trouble having having a song title called Kill the President and you're an American band. Yeah, probably doesn't look too hot. But yeah, it is the formation, the founding sound of the Offspring. It's a lot more hardcore punk than it is the sort of punk rock that comes later. It's a very rough and ready sounding record, underproduced, but sounds like it was just recorded live. I have a fondness for it. I wouldn't say it's an album I pick up a lot. It's got some good tracks on it, but there's a lot of stuff that I just kind of forget, like Out on Patrol, Crossroads, Demons, kind of just a bit of a blur. But I'd say it has a consistent sound. I don't hate it, and when I go back to it, like, it's a fun time. It's a fun time. I'd say I'm probably going to give that one a 7 out of 10. As the general feeling with that record. Yeah, it's about that mark, you know. Like, it's got some classics on there for sure. It's definitely the establishing Offspring record. But there's a lot of just stuff on it that doesn't really sort of like land. Nothing particularly bad, but yeah, just doesn't really quite hit the mark for me. I'm getting a message from Jim Trinker. It's a picture of his son in a bucket, and he has tagged it with the caption, "I in a bucket." So that's nice. Thanks, Jim. So yeah, that is the first Offspring album. An inconspicuous start, but definitely the sign of things to come, better things to come. And next up, we go back to the discography, is Ignition from 1992, their first release on Epitaph Records, founded by one of the members of, Bad Religion. Ignition, 1992. Now, this is a big one. There's some good stuff on here. Here's my copy, by the way, on CD. Yeah, this is a cool record. I always thought, and I'm not entirely sure about this one, that the cover art is a parody. And I've never had this confirmed. It's just an inclination. But I think it's riffing on Led Zeppelin 4, is it? Yeah, this guy. You see what I'm getting at? It's, you know, the kindling is now burning. I think that's what they were going for. But again, I'm not entirely sure. It might just be a coincidence, but I feel like that's a parody of Led Zeppelin 4, personally. But I don't know. Tell me I'm wrong. So yeah, this is a cool one. We're getting some hits on this one. We got Session, we got We Are One, we got Kick Him When He's Down, Take It Like a Man, Get It Right, Dirty Magic, Hypodermic, Burn It Up, No Hero, LAPD, Nothing from Something, and Forever and a Day. Again, I think the sound of this one is quite consistent. It's not like they're kind of mixing it up with different genres and stuff, but they do take some divergences. Like Dirty Magic is kind of like, you know, a little bit more down tempo, less riffy, a little bit more jangly, but it's really catchy. One of my favorite Offspring songs. LAPD is just an absolute banger. That's probably my standout track on this one. Burn It Up's great. Session's great. We Are One, Kick Him When He's Down is great. Like, there's a lot of really, really strong songs on this album. Again, a little underproduced, I'd say. Like, it sounds a little flat. It doesn't sound as beefy and punchy as I would have liked it to. But it's the second record. So they probably didn't have an awful lot of budget to go on. And I think the songwriting really stands out on this one. I actually saw them play this live. I've only seen them play live like twice, but one of them was like them playing Ignition in full. Shepherd's Bush, Empire. Just gonna look up the old set list. I went the second night. Yeah, because it was the night they played Elders. Look at this set list. 24 songs. All of Ignition. 3 songs off Americana, 3 off Smash, 3 off Days Go By. No, 2 off Days Go By. That was the most recent record at the time. Ixnay on the Hombre 2, 1 off Rise and Fall, 1 off the debut, which is Elders. And that was like the first time they played Elders since 1994. Wow, bloody hell. I was really chuffed to see that live because that is a great song. I remember this show being a bit strange. It felt like Dexter really didn't want to be there. He really felt like he was phoning that one in. He felt very uninterested. Noodles was having a great time though. The thing I often remember about it was they played Motor, right? And someone in the crowd brought a sign that said, "Don't play Motor," and he saw it and was like, "Wow, this is like the first time I've ever seen someone like request to not have a song played." And they were like, "Fuck you, we're playing Motor." So that was cool. I don't know if he was a plant or something, but like it made for some good banter, and they played Motor, which is a great song. But yeah, so that is Ignition. I think this is a very good record. One of the Offspring's best, and I think it deserves an 8 out of 10. Like I say, it's a little flat. Production's a little, you know, not so hot. But I do think it's a really solid collection of songs. The songwriting's getting better, catchier. Like they're not just, you know, fast punk songs for 10 tracks or whatever. There's a little bit of ebb and flow. You know, they're doing some different stuff, moving things around, making slower songs, making more interesting arrangements and stuff. Yeah, it just makes for a really good record. Yeah, great album, fondly remembered. I really like it, and yeah, I come back to it quite a lot. So yeah, that is Ignition. Next up is a big one. So 1994, we have Smash. Oh, what an album this is. Here's my original copy. I have another copy as well. They did like a remaster, so I bought that as well. It's not very good, just makes it a bit louder. But yeah, Smash. This is an album and a half. So yeah, I don't know why I'm typing the band name every time, because it's not going to change. But never mind. That's what I've started with. Right, okay, Smash then. Oh, God. I mean, what can I say about this record? So, track listing is Time to Relax, which is a little introduction spoken word piece. Then we've got Nitro, Youth Energy, Bad Habit, Gotta Get Away, Genocide, Something to Believe in, Come Out and Play, Self-Esteem, It'll Be a Long Time, Killboy Powerhead, What Happened to You, So Alone, Not the One, and the title track, Smash. Now, this is a classic of punk. Like, this is such a good album. I think it's still like the highest selling independent album of all time. Let's see what Wikipedia has to say about that. Smash has sold over 11 million copies worldwide, making it the best-selling album released by an independent record label. It was also the first Epitaph release to obtain gold and platinum status. 6 million of those alone were sold in the United States. So yeah, pretty big record. And I think it absolutely deserves those sales and those plaudits. I don't think there's a song on here I dislike or think is filler. Nitro's great, Bad Habit's great, Gotta Get Away's great. Genocide I don't really come back to, Something to Believe in I don't really come back to, but I wouldn't say they are bad songs. Come Out and Play is great, obviously. Self-Esteem's great. It'll Be a Long Time I don't come back to a lot. Their cover of Killboy Powerhead's great. What Happened to You is like the first time they do a ska song, which comes into their sound quite a lot. So Alone's great. Don't really come back to Not the One too much, and Smash is great. But again, I don't hate any of these songs, and I don't find that any of them like particularly fillery. They're just good songs. But I'm just trying to be like hypercritical, and I don't know if I really can be hypercritical of this record. It's Smash. It's one of the best albums of all time. Yeah. It's going to be a 10 out of 10. It's so good. It's such a good record. What is there to say about Smash that isn't already been said? Like, it's the defining, the Offspring have arrived album. God, man, what a great album. I would have been too young to go to gigs and stuff at this time, but God, it would have been incredible to have seen them on that tour. Yeah, it's just so good. Honestly, when they play Bad Habit and stuff live, it's just like one of the best moments of any concert you can go to. Flat Duck Records, thanks for coming in, buddy. Yeah, we've just ranked the first. Well, I haven't ranked them yet. I'm reviewing them, and then I'm going to rank them at the end. I got the tier list here from 1 to 11. We're gonna just talk about the records first. I'm gonna review them, and then hopefully that will give me some structure to allow me to rank them at the end. But as we currently stand, we've got Offspring's debut album, 7 out of 10. Offspring Ignition, 8 out of 10, and then Smash we've just done, just 10 out of 10. And I think, yeah, it's one of my absolute favourite punk albums of all time. Right, things change a little bit for the next album released. Not with the lineups. Lineup's still the same through all of these, but we are now going into 1996 with the release of Ixnay on the Hombre, which is the first Offspring album on Columbia Records. So they signed to a major off the back of the success of Smash. They made this record. Here's my copy. Now, this is often regarded as one of the Offspring's best as well. So we got Disclaimer, little spoken word thing. Meaning of Life, great song. Motor, great song. Me and My Old Lady, great song. Call to Hate, great song. Leave It Behind, Gone Away, I Choose, spoken word intermission, All I Want, Way Down the Line, Don't Pick It Up, Amazed, and Change the World are the songs on this record. Now there is an extra song that's only on the vinyl release, and I say song, it's not really a song. If we go to the original LP release, you can see here there is a track called Cocktail, which is a little spoken word interlude. This guy Calvert DeForest talking, And Calvert DeForest played the character Larry Bud Melman on the David Letterman show. I'm not an American. I don't know who that is. I don't know that character. I'm not familiar with the David Letterman show other than just hearing about it. Never watched it. But yeah, this little spoken word thing here, he talks about making a Molotov cocktail. It's basically instructions on how to make a Molotov cocktail, which is interesting, right? Because the Offspring did a song on an album called Short Songs for Short People, which is a compilation record done by Fat Records, Fat Mike from NoFX's label, and it's got like over 100 artists doing little 30-second songs, and one of them is a song called Hand Grenades by the Offspring, and that is a 30-second song about, well, a 36-second song about how to make a Molotov cocktail. So they revisit this this idea, yeah, on a future release. So 96 for Ixnay and Short Music for Short People came out in 1999. So they never stopped thinking about making Molotov cocktails. No Trash Jen, thanks for jumping in. So yeah, so that is Ixnay and the Hombre. Basically, in a nutshell, I would love to own it on vinyl so I can have the extra track, but it's a lot of money for a little spoken word thing about making a Molotov cocktail. Anyway, let's talk about how I feel about the record. Meaning of Life is great, Motor's great, Me and My Old Lady's great, Call to Hate's great, Gone Away's incredible, All I Want's an amazing all-timer. Don't Pick It Up as another ska song, good bit of fun. But there are songs on here which I feel are a little fillery. I don't particularly like I Choose and Way Down the Line. And when I say I don't particularly like them, I just feel like they sound like radio rock. They're not really what I go to the Offspring for. They're just a little whatever, you know, like they feel a bit churned out. They feel like obvious hits. Whereas the stuff they released as singles, All I Want, Gone Away, not so obvious, and they're more like what I like from the Offspring. Gone Away is just an incredible tune. Like, that is a man suffering and pouring all his heart out onto a record, and it sounds like it. You know, it's incredible. All I Want is one of the best punk songs ever written. Like, those are incredible songs. But like things like Leave It Behind, Amazed, don't really like go back to these songs. They feel a little whatever, you know. Again, not bad, just nothing special. And that's why I don't rate Ixnay as high as Smash. I know people absolutely adore this record, and this is like the Offspring album for a lot of people, but I just find like I Choose and Way Down the Line in particular are a little too like radio rock for me, and that's not what I go to the Offspring for. They obviously continue to go down the radio rock well quite substantially as things go forward, but I prefer it when they're just making really good punk rock and having a good time. But yeah, that's that. Again, I don't hate that record. I don't think it's particularly bad, but I feel it's basically on the same level as Ignition. I think Ixnay is an 8 out of 10. Controversial opinion, maybe. I know people absolutely love that record. And more power to you. But I just think the back half in particular, it starts to get a little... These songs just kind of sound like filler to me. So, yeah. I don't think of it as fondly as I do Smash, which I just don't feel like I hate any of the songs or like switch off for any of the songs on that record. I'm just like, I can put that album on and I'm listening to it front to back. Whereas with Ixnay, I feel like I'm listening to the first half up to All I Want, which is 10 songs, don't get me wrong, and then there's another 4. And then I kind of lose interest a little bit. But yeah. It is a really good record, don't get me wrong. A lot of good songs on it, but I don't think it's as polished as Smash, which feels like front to back it's just fucking perfect, you know? It's just such a good record. Right, next up. It's a big one. It's a real big one. It's Americana from 1998. Let's get that on the old on the list here. The Offspring. Americana 1998. I didn't put the year for Hombre either. That was 96, wasn't it? Right, okay. Americana is a big one because this is my first exposure to the Offspring, but it's not the first album of theirs I bought. I had a friend in primary school that had this record, and I did a tape copy of him. And yeah, like this was my gateway. This is the one that really, you know, turned me onto them. I obviously have it now. Here's my copy. But yeah, this is the breakout album. It has Pretty Fly for a White Guy on it. It has Why Don't You Get a Job on it. So probably the two biggest singles in their arsenal, and they're both on this record. But this is an album that's more than just those singles, which are basically pop songs, with like a ska edge to them. You know, like they're still kind of bringing in that ska element, which they occasionally have dealt in with, you know, songs like what's it? What Happened to You off Smash, and Don't Pick It Up off Ixnay. They kind of blending that ska sound into like pop songs now, so you're getting it quite a lot on Why Don't You Get a Job. But let's go through the track list. So we have Welcome, little introduction piece. Have You Ever, great song. Staring at the Sun, great song. Pretty Fly for a White Guy, iconic Offspring song, however you feel about it. And it's not a punk song, it's more of a pop song, but like it's super catchy, it's so memorable, one of their best. Then we have The Kids Aren't Alright, another incredible Offspring song. I forgot that it was on here. That is such a good Offspring song, like one of their best. Feelings is great. She's Got Issues, fine, good song, but not one of my favourites of this album. Walla Walla, great song. End of the Line, No Breaks, great song. Why Don't You Get a Job, another pop song, but really memorable. Another iconic song off this record. Americana, great song. Pay the Man, great song. There's very little chuff on this record. In fact, I wouldn't say there is any bad songs on this. I think it's, you just kind of have to feel like, what do you go to the Offspring for? If you're going for like straight up punk rock that doesn't fuck around, there are moments on this record when it is just that. Have You Ever, Staring at the Sun, Walla Walla, No Breaks, really just balls to the wall punk rock songs. But then we're also getting a little bit more creative. We're getting, you know, we're mixing genres, we're doing stuff, making pop songs, making really catchy pop songs, don't get me wrong. But yeah, they're just getting the balance right. It ebbs and flows. It's a good record to listen to from front to back. End of the Line maybe being the only one I really think is a bit of a skipper, like, or just it's there, you know, just doesn't really give me the stuff I really want. Pay the Man, like, maybe a little bit fillery. But I don't dislike any of the songs on this record. Is it as good as Smash though? I don't think it's as good as Smash, but it's close. I think this is a 9 out of 10. I think we're going to have to go 9 out of 10 on Americana. It is just a quintessential Offspring album. One of the best things in their back catalogue. I mean, if Smash broke them, this brought them like worldwide. You know, like we are now the biggest band in the world with Americana, as far as I'm concerned. Like, just, it's got all the hits. Even the album tracks, you know, non-singles are just great. The singles are brilliant. Kids Aren't Alright, absolutely one of the best goddamn Offspring songs they've ever made. Oh, and we should probably mention as well, Pretty Fly for a White Guy. I mentioned this to better half, Jen, she's in the chat. The UK version has additional lyrics in the chorus, where it's like, don't keep way, you gotta play it straight, and you know you can always go my way. Whereas on the album version, it's like, don't keep way, play it straight, you know. And I just think the additional words on the UK single version makes that like sequence flow nicer, and I prefer it, the single version over the album version. Yeah, so well worth owning the single version, although it is one of those singles that's like plagued with remixes. Like, what is the thing with remixes on rock singles? I hate it so much. Like club remixes, it's just, who wants these things? I've never understood it. The Geek Mix, yeah, God, terrible fucking thing. This is the one I got, the UK single. Yeah, the Geek Mix, and it's got a live version of All I Want, which, I mean, as a B-side, pretty solid. But when I'm buying singles, I want proper exclusive B-sides. I want covers. I want album offcuts. I want new songs. Just stick them on there. That's what I go for singles for. Not bloody remixes. Hate remixes. But yeah, that was Americana. It's pretty iconic, right? It's a big time Offspring classic. Yeah, there you go. James totally said it in the chat. The UK single version is goated. Totally, it had to be mentioned. It's the better version of the song. It flows a lot nicer. Right, we've arrived. We've arrived on my first Offspring CD. One of the first CDs I ever bought with my own money. It is Conspiracy of One from the year 2000. Yeah. I think I bought this album on the same day as I bought Muse's Origin of Symmetry, which is another album I have huge nostalgia for. Origin of Symmetry. Let me just check, because that may have been. So Origin of Symmetry came out in 2001. So I may have bought this album. I may have bought this album the same day as Origin of Symmetry, but I may have bought it the following year and not the year 2000. But yeah, Conspiracy of One was one of the first Offspring CDs I ever bought. Here it is. This is my original copy, bought from Woolworths. I can't remember if I bought it the same day as Origin of Symmetry or if I bought it the same day as Kerrang! The album, which is yeah, another one of my first CDs that I bought with my own money. Kerrang! The album, when did that come out? That's the 2001 one as well. I may just be getting this all blended together. Oh, hang on. Yeah, Kerrang! 2001, Kerrang! Began releasing Kerrang! The album under Universal Music. Yeah, there we go. 2001, this album here. So yeah, I definitely bought Conspiracy of One with another record. I just can't remember which one. Or I may have bought it on its own. I don't remember. But yeah, this is my first Offspring CD, and as a result, I got lots of nostalgia for it. But this is the last Offspring album of the original lineup. Ron Welty, the drummer, will leave after touring Conspiracy of One, and he will be replaced by Adam Willard, who doesn't really have an awful lot of presence in the Offspring's back catalogue, but we'll get to that. We're talking about Conspiracy of One first, so let me get over to that. That's the most important thing we need to be talking about right now. Shout out to Willie, who used to get my albums in boots. Oh, nice one. Grizzly Crichton. When we're ready to sing, we step up to the microphone, and it sounds a little something like this. Yes, that is the intro track from Conspiracy of One, followed by Come Out Swinging, Original Prankster, Want You Bad, Million Miles Away, Damn It I Changed Again, Living in Chaos, Special Delivery, One Fine Day, All Along, Denial Revisited, Vultures, and title track Conspiracy of One. Now, this is another record that kind of follows in the footsteps of Americana in that they are experimenting a little bit more. It's not just flat out punk rock. There's a lot of pop songs in here, and they're changing the speed and getting a little bit more interesting. And yeah, there's a lot of songs I like on here. Come Out Swinging, great punk rock song. Original Prankster is a pop song. It's not my favourite of the poppy Offspring songs, but I don't dislike it, and it is probably one of their more iconic songs. I always think about how funny it is that Redman's on it, and all he does is say original prankster and then original yeah. That's all they got him to do. They paid that man for a guest spot, and he was like, I guess I'll say original prankster, and then I'm going to follow it up with original yeah. And he got paid a check, and that was him for the day. Funny. Want You Bad, another pop song, but a little bit more rocking, a little bit more radio rock, but a very memorable classic Offspring song. Million Miles Away, another great song. Damn It, I Changed Again, I really like. Living in Chaos, I really like. Special Delivery, I really like. One Fine Day, I really like. All Along is probably a fillery song for me. Denial Revisited is a little bit fillery. Vultures I like. Bit of a slower one. And then Conspiracy of One is an absolute banger. So yeah, another solid record, I've got to say. Like, there's not a lot of filler on this. I'd say Original Prankster's probably the weakest of the poppy Offspring songs. It's no Pretty Fly for the Right Guy, let's put it that way. But still very memorable. I remember watching the video on Crying TV quite a lot, and seeing the dog poop being all pixelated as he puts it in the bag to go and prank his neighbour. But yeah, really good singles on this. Want You Bad. I think Million Miles Away was a single as well. Yeah, just a really solid record. Not a lot I dislike on it, not a lot of filler either. I'm surprised how positively I still feel about that record. I think it's another 9 out of 10. Don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's a smash killer. I don't think it's on the same level. But it's still a really, really solid collection of songs. And again, like, alright, yeah, Offspring are kind of moving into that pop song sound now, but I just think they got it kind of nailed at the moment. Like, yeah, they're making really memorable stuff. He brought Bruce Stinger with the original Prankster money. Oh yeah. The Redman does have a Dreamcast in his Cribs episode, doesn't he? Yeah. An absolute classic of TV, by the way. If you haven't seen Redman's Cribs episode, it's brilliant. It's absolutely excellent. His cousin is just passed out on the floor at one point. He's got a box just full of dollars, like a single dollar note, like loads of them in one box. He's just like, this is the dollar box. This is where I keep my dollars. Just a legend. Redman, absolute legend. Nothing but respect for the Redman. Ah, great stuff. Right, it's on to the next record, and this is a new era. So like I say, Ron Welty, the original drummer, has left, and he has been replaced by Adam Willard, but only in a touring capacity, because he does not play on Splinter. We get someone else playing on Splinter, and he is one of the greatest drummers of all time, and he plays on a lot of Offspring records going forward as like a session musician, but they obviously get on with him well, they obviously write with him well, and they obviously continue to enjoy his presence because he does become a touring member of the Offspring later on. His name is Josh Freese. He was previously the drummer for the Offspring following the passing of Taylor Hawkins. No, sorry, not the Offspring. Foo Fighters following the passing of Taylor Hawkins. And he has now returned to his drumming position in Nine Inch Nails as of earlier this year. But yeah, he is the session drummer for an awful lot of Offspring albums going forward, and he is an excellent drummer. How did Ixnay do? Can you not see it on the screen? We got Ixnay as 8 out of 10 at the moment. And again, I know I was saying this, and it was like, I know it's a controversial to knock it down and not have it as highly rated as Smash, but I just feel like there's a few songs on that record where they become a little bit more radio rock, and what's it like? They're just not as memorable. There's a few more filler songs on that record. I'm not a big fan of stuff like I Choose and Way Down the Line. I know people have affection for those songs, but I just find them a little bit sort of just radio filler guff. You know, doesn't really hit me in the same way as the really good songs on Ixnay do. But I don't think it's a bad record by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's a great record. I just don't think it has as front to back as strong a selection of songs as Smash does. So that's my take on Ixnay. But anyway, we're talking about Splinter now. So Splinter. Like you say, opening track was recorded live at Reading Festival with all the crowd going whoa, along with the tune of the song. And this was released in 2003. And yeah, this was a weird one. I remember being quite disappointed with this record. It's very short. There's a lot of like silly messing around bollocks on it. So Neocon is the introduction with the crowd singing along. The Noose is a good song. Long Way Home's a good song. Hit That is undeniably a Offspring pop classic. Race Against Myself, filler track. Can't Get My Head Around You, good song, good single. The Worst Hangover Ever is one of those like stupid, silly, we just churned this one out for a bit of daft ska nonsense, and I'm not a fan of it. Never Gonna Find Me's alright. Lightning Rod's alright. Spare Me the Details, another stupid, silly comedy song that I'm not a big fan of. Dahooey's a rager. And then it ends with a very unfortunate song called When You're in Prison, which is about being raped in the showers in a prison. It's not a great ending to this record, and that really tarnishes my overall feeling of the whole thing as well. Yeah, there's some decent songs on this album, don't get me wrong, but there is some ill-advised, stupid shit on here that really, really drags it down, in my opinion. A shame. But as a result, like I just can't rate this one high, unfortunately. Yeah, my heart. If I'm going to be generous, I'm going to be like 6 out of 10. But it's like it's 5, 6 out of 10 is kind of where I'm feeling. I don't feel like half of the album is bad, but quite a bit of it is very forgettable or annoying, and then there's obviously When You're in Prison, which is just downright offensive. So yeah, not a great turn from the Offspring there. There's another thing as well I want to mention with this record, right? The album artwork. So this picture here, I mean, it's fine. I don't know if it's a punk album cover or not, but never mind. But they did get Storm Thorgerson to do art for this album. Storm Thorgerson is like one of my favourite artists. Like, he's a photographer by trade, but like he's done so much classic artwork. He was obviously a part of the team that did like the Dark Side of the Moon album cover, but like he does these really iconic album covers. Like he's done Muse's Absolution, he did Biffy Clyro's Only Revolutions. He's got a very iconic look to his stuff. It's like these really wide open spaces, little figures, and just this very sort of otherworldly, gigantic thing happening in these scenes that he shoots as photography. But yeah, he did some artwork for Splinter, which wasn't used as the album cover, and I'm trying to remember. I think it's this one they used for a single, the Ice Family. I think they used that for the Hit That single, and this one as well, which is such a good bit of artwork with the crescent moon sort of like looking like it's going to pierce his throat. That's an album cover, man. Like, the fact that they didn't use that as the album cover seems like a bit of a missed opportunity there. Yeah, he did a few for Biffy. He did Puzzle as well, and the one with the tree like sideways. I'm trying to remember the name of the record now. Can't see properly because of the thing. I apologise. Let me minimise that real quick. There you go. That's Storm Thorgerson's Opposites. Thank you. That's the Biffy Clyro album. Yeah, that's Storm Thorgerson's Splinter cover, and here's the hit that single cover that he did as well. Yeah, just really, really good pieces of art, and I think they're a tad better than what we got for Splinter, which is just a statue mid-explosion. Yeah, really cool pieces of artwork. I think they're in the booklet, because that's another thing the Offspring do, is they give every song a piece of artwork, which means they can then use that piece of artwork for the single. Yeah, there's the ice sculptures, and oh, he did another piece of art for it as well. Look, that's definitely a Storm Thorgerson. I've seen that in one of his art books. But yeah, the figure on the cliff with the crescent moon sort of going towards his throat, that is not in the booklet, but you can see it on the disc, very, very small. God, hang on, let me see if I can. It's just there, like at the end of the. Yeah, that's a shame. I just think that's a great bit of artwork. I'm really, yeah, really disappointed it didn't get used as the album cover, to be honest with you. But yeah, that is Splinter from 2003. Not one of my favourite Offspring records. I don't come back to it very often. It's got some standout stuff on it, don't get me wrong, but it's not one of their best. Right, we need to move on, because it is now time for Rise and Fall, Rage and Grace from 2008. Quite a big gap here, and this will be a recurring theme, because we were getting like an Offspring album like every 2 to 3 years from 1989 to 2003, so they were churning out records, really going for it. But yeah, quite a bit of a break between Splinter and Rise and Fall, and as a result, I think it's a stronger record. Here's my copy. I've got it in one of these plastic baggies because I try and protect my digipack cases, because they get a bit scuffed up on your shelves, constant pushing them in and out, so I'm trying to protect them. But yeah, this is the first. Is it the first Offspring album produced by Bob Rock? Yes, I think it is. Bob Rock of Metallica production fame now becomes a regular occurrence as the producer of Offspring albums with Rise and Fall, Rage and Grace. So, we'll go through the track list real quick. Half Truism, Trust in You, You're Gonna Go Far Kid, Hammerhead, A Lot Like Me, Takes Me Nowhere, Christy, Are You Doing Okay, Nothing Town, Stuff Is Messed Up, Fix You, Let's Hear It for Rock Bottom, and Rise and Fall. Now, there's some really good songs on here. Half Truism's great, Trust in You is great, You're Gonna Go Far Kid is like the most popular Offspring song now. It's insane. Like it's constantly in like the top like listened to Offspring songs. Like it's always in their set list. I'm really surprised that it's so massively loved. Yeah, look, You're Gonna Go Far Kid is currently the most popular played Offspring song of the last 7 days, and it kind of always is. Last 30 days, it's still there. Last 90 days, it's still there. Last 180 days, it's still there. Last year, it's still number one. Yeah, I'm really, really surprised that is always like the standout hit of the Offspring's back catalogue. You would think Pretty Fly for a White Guy would always be number one, right? It's weird. But You're Gonna Go Far Kid is a good song. Memorable pop Offspring song. But yeah, I really like what's it? A Lot Like Me is a bit of a fillery one. Takes Me Nowhere is pretty good fun. Christy, Are You Doing Okay's filler is all hell. Nothing Town's not particularly special. Stuff Is Messed Up's alright. Fix You shares a song title with a Coldplay song and does kind of sound like a Coldplay song. Let's Hear It for Rock Bottom, kind of fillery, and Rise and Fall is a good punk rock, you know, rager from Offspring. There's some really good stuff on it. It's a bit front half heavy, like with the good shit. Back half kind of falls apart a little bit. But it ends on Rise and Fall, which is a great song. So you know, holds it back. LT, thanks for raiding. Appreciate you jumping in. We're currently ranking all the Offspring albums, and I'm up to Rise and Fall, Rage and Grace. Thank you for jumping in. I appreciate that. Pretty Fly is like Mr. Brightside in that folks like it but don't listen to it that often. Interesting. I wouldn't go that far, but you know. Yeah, there's I can't remember. Is it Half Truism that has the chorus that sounds like Helena by My Chemical Romance? What's the worst thing I could say? And then Half Truism basically follows the exact same chord structure. I think it's Half Truism. Yeah, Offspring clearly riffing on My Chemical Romance at this time in their career. But yeah, there's some good stuff on here. I do come back to this one quite a lot. I don't think it's one of their absolute best. There's a lot of filler on it, but not too much, and it's not really bad stuff. It's nothing as like, you know, atrocious as when you're in prison off Splinter. I think it's somewhere between 7 out of 10 and 8 out of 10 for me. I don't know if I'm comfortable putting it on the same sort of score as Ixnay, so I think it's a 7. But yeah, it's a good record. I would recommend it. There's some real classics on here. It doesn't really get the love that a lot of the early Offspring records do, but I think there's some really good stuff on it. Hammerhead is an absolute all-timer. Rise and Fall is a great time. Rust and You's really good. Yeah, and obviously it's got You're Gonna Go Far Kid on it, which is like the most popular Offspring song now, which I'm still perplexed by. Okay, right, we're getting into the home stretch here. I'm trying to think, have we had a change of members yet? Yes. Okay, so Rise and Fall, Rage and Grace was toured by Pete Parada, and he becomes the Offspring drummer for the next 3 records. He doesn't. I'm pretty sure he doesn't contribute any writing to Rise and Fall, Rage and Grace. I think that is all still Josh Freese. But yeah, he obviously it's not Atom Willard anymore. It is now Pete Parada. So let me find the discography real quick, and we'll just quickly confirm that. I don't want to give you incorrect information. Yeah, Josh Freese drums. So Pete Parada doesn't actually contribute any writing to Rise and Fall as of yet. It's still the same mob who did Splinter. So next up then we have Days Go By from 2012. Oh, Days Go By. Okay. I certainly have some opinions on this record. So, here's my copy. Crap album artwork. An old man and a kid sitting on a bench in the woods. Not very punk. Yeah, not a big fan of that album cover. Have I got it on screen so you can see it bigger? There we go. There's Rise and Fall. I'll bring that down as well. Sorry, not Rise and Fall. That's Days Go By. This is the album we're talking about. Okay, we'll go into the track listing then. So The Future Is Now, Secrets from the Underground, Days Go By, Turning Into You, Hurting As One, Cruising California, and in brackets, Bumping in My Trunk, All I Have Left Is You, OC Guns, a re-recording of Dirty Magic from Ignition, I Want a Secret Family with You, Dividing by Zero, Slim Pickens Does the Right Thing, and Rides the Bomb to Hell. It's the last song. Now this is a right old mixed bag. We're getting too old for this show. There's some decent songs on here. I think The Future Is Now is pretty good. I think Turning Into You is pretty good. I think Dividing by Zero is very good, and I think Slim Pickens Does the Right Thing and Rise the Bomb to Hell is very good. However, the re-recording of Dirty Magic is unnecessary. It's still a good song, but I don't understand why it needed to be re-recorded. And they kind of make it a bit riffier, whereas the original one is a little more stripped back, and I think it's a more interesting arrangement as a result. There's a lot of filler on this record. I don't really remember Secrets from the Underground or Hurtin' As One or All I Have Left Is You. OC Guns is crap. That's a sort of... Oh, I don't know how to even describe it. It feels like... So the Offspring like to use this sort of like... So this is the album artwork for Let the Bad Times Roll. And yeah, it's like the Day of the Dead skulls and stuff like that. It feels like they're kind of riffing on that sort of like... I don't want to say Mexican music, because it's not, but it's got like that sort of like gangster quality to it, and it's just crap. It's just really rubbish. And then obviously they released it as a single as well. Cruising California Bumping in My Trunk is kind of the pop song on this record, and again it's kind of similar in like it's supposed to be kind of like a pop parody song, similar to like Pretty Fly for a White Guy, but it's just annoying. It's a really annoying song. It's not great at all. And then the other single was Days Go By, which is the title track song, and it just sounds like the Foo Fighters. It doesn't sound like the Offspring at all. It's like not what you go to the Offspring for. It's fine. It's just typical bog standard radio rock. Thanks for jumping in, LT, by the way. Appreciate that. Take care, buddy. But yeah, not a great album. And I don't... Is it worse than Splinter? Because like Splinter has like a genuinely offensive song on it. But Days Go By, there's so much like whatever on here. There's probably like 3 songs I'd say that I genuinely like on this record. I think again, like it's like a 4 or a 5 out of 10. I don't think it's a 4 out of 10. I think it's a 5. It's not a particularly good record by any stretch of the imagination. But like there's a handful of decent songs on here. But there's some really like annoying stuff on here, like Cruising California and OC Guns. Days Go By is just like, why did you do this? Yeah, a strange record, that one. I can't bring myself to hate it, but it's definitely middle of the road as Offspring albums go. Right, we're into the final 2 as of the time of recording, which is 16th of September 2025. So, Let the Bad Times Roll from 2021. There is a huge gap between Days Go By and Let the Bad Times Roll. Days Go By is the last album they did on Columbia Records, and they moved to an independent Concord Records for Let the Bad Times Roll and the most recent album. So yeah, Let the Bad Times Roll from 2021, and we've got some member changes going on here, right? So this is the last album featuring Pete Parada. I think he actually contributes some stuff, and we didn't talk about that with Days Go By. I think he contributed some stuff to that as well. So Days Go By, Pete Parada contributed drums to 4 of the songs on Days Go By, and all the others were done by Josh Freese, who's been the session drummer since Splinter. And then when it comes to Let the Bad Times Roll, Pete Parada contributes to everything bar 4 songs, and Josh Freese does drums on 2 songs. So this is his biggest contribution to the Offspring. Is Pete Parada is on Let the Bad Times Roll. And also we lose long-serving member Greg Kay on bass, which was a real shame. They didn't seem to end on good terms, unfortunately. But Todd Morse, who was touring with them since 2009 as a rhythm guitarist, takes over bass duties going forward. And Yeah, so that's the structure for Let the Bad Times Roll. Um, this is an interesting one. This is so this the touring cycle for this album is when I saw them last, and it was a great show. Let me find that. So it was the Offspring and the Hives, Wembley. Da, da, da. No, okay. Let's just do the Offspring, Wembley. Yeah, here we go. November 26th, 2021. This is a birthday present from my dad. Not the 24 song set list that I saw them off in 2012, but 19 songs. And yeah, they were infinitely better at this show. Like, Dexter was having a great time. They clearly like rehearsed really tightly. There was a lot of fun to be had. There's a lot of banter with us, with the crowd. They did this like fun guitar riffs medley thing where like Noodles just showed off for a bit. It was a good time. It was a good time. Everybody was having a really good time, and incredible supports. It was the Hives and Bob Vylan. Yeah, incredible. Bob Vylan really riled up the crowd. Really good fun. But yeah, like that was a great concert. I had a really good time. All the hits, and yeah, I had a really good time with that. But Let the Bad Times Roll then is an interesting record. This one I have on cassette, not CD. Don't know why. I think it was because it was cheap. I generally buy CDs because I like to be able to rip my own MP3s and put them on my iPod and stuff. But I will not forgo just the cheapest option sometimes, and yeah, I did that for this and the next album. So Let the Bad Times Roll then. So it starts with This Is Not Utopia, title track, Let the Bad Times Roll, Behind Your Walls, Army of One, Breaking These Bones, Coming For You, We Never Have Sex Anymore, In the Hall of the Mountain King, The Opioid Diaries, A Sand Chop, Gone Away, a re-recording of Gone Away are from Ixnay, played on the piano, and the last song is called Lullaby. There's a lot of chuff on this. This Is Not Utopia is a good song. Let the Bad Times Roll is a weird one. I don't know why they chose it as the single and the title track. It doesn't really like hit the way you want it to. It's very uneventful as a song goes. Behind Your Walls is fine. Army of One's fine. Breaking These Bones is fine. Coming For You is fine. That's the oldest song on this album. It was released as a single like years prior to this record. It's alright. We Never Have Sex Anymore is one of those annoying kind of Offspring pop ska things that I just can't be bothered with. In the Hall of the Mountain King is just filler. It's literally a little cover of the riff, you know, basically. Keeps getting faster. They still play it in their set list at the moment. I don't understand why. It's not very fun. The Opioid Diaries, really good Offspring song. They played it live when I saw them in 2021. A Sand Chop's alright. The Gone Away re-recording on the piano is like unnecessary because the original recording is just so good. Like it's like full of passion. You can tell that is a man whose heart is breaking, you know. Whereas this version is just like it doesn't need to be played on the piano. It's unnecessary. And then Lullaby is like just this silly little outro where they kind of do a reprise of the chorus from Let the Bad Times Roll, but it's all moody and atmospheric. Like it's just a bit naff. It's another record that just doesn't hit right. It's not. There's a lot of filler on it. There's a couple of songs I really like, but again, like, is it worse than Days Go By? It's certainly not like terrible. I don't hate it as much as I hate like the worst songs on Days Go By, but I don't think it's anything more than a 5 out of 10 again. Like it's just got that sort of energy to it. It's not great. Yeah, very middle of the road, just an album where they're going through the motions. A shame. Again, they clearly show that they can do it, you know, make good punk rock every now and again with the Opioid Diaries, and This Is Not Utopia, but there's just a lot of just meh on this record. Yeah, a shame. But like I say, when they were touring it, They were excellent. They were so good. They were really, really good. Massive step up. And their live show continues to be really good. And Josh Freese was playing with them at that show. So, like, yeah, they got him in as touring drummer for a while. And then, obviously, he got the Foo Fighters job. And then they brought in Brandon Pertzborn. They also brought in, around the time of Let the Bad Times Roll, he was just a touring member at the time, but it's Jonah Nimoy. He plays like rhythm guitar and keyboard. Where are we? Jonah, there he is. Yeah, so he was I don't think he actually plays on Let the Bad Times Roll. Let me just check. But he was touring with them, and he had some energy. Jonah Nimoy is the grandson of Leonard Nimoy. It's so weird. Yeah, he doesn't actually play on the record, but he was touring it. But yeah, this is the established lineup now. So we've got Dexter and Noodles, Todd on bass, Brandon Pertzborn on drums, and Jonah Nimoy on keys and additional guitar going forward now. And when I say going forward, we are now on to the last album of the rankings. We are doing Supercharged from last year, 2024. Let's get that on the list. Supercharged 2024. Not as huge a gap between Days Go By and Let the Bad Times Roll this time, which I was very happy about. And you had to wait 3 years between Let the Bad Times Roll and Supercharged. And Supercharged, I want to say, is a bit of a return to form, but it's a strange album. So let me go through the track list. So we got Looking Out for Number 1, Light It Up, The Fall Guy, Make It All Right, Okay But This Is the Last Time, Truth and Fiction, Come to Brazil, Get Some, Hanging by a Thread, and You Can't Get There From Here. 10 tracks, over in about half an hour, nice and punchy. It feels like they kind of went for the whole, like, every song's a hit, but they're all just kind of, they all sound like singles. Well, most of them sound like singles. But there's no like cohesion to this record. It doesn't sound like it was written in the same session. It feels like it was all scattershot writing and recording, and as a result, the production's all kind of weird, and it doesn't all sound the same across the record. Brandon Pertzborn didn't contribute all the drums to it. I think Josh Freese recorded some drums. Let me have a look at this again. Supercharged. So Brandon played drums on 4 tracks, and then Josh played drums on everything else. So even though Brandon is obviously the current drummer, he didn't contribute to all of the writing of this record. They're still quite comfy with Josh and writing and recording with him, but only some of the songs, I guess. But yeah, Todd and Jonah get full credits on this one now. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff I like on this record. I Looking Out for Number 1 is a really good Offspring pop song. Light It Up is a great punk rock song. Fall Guy is pretty good. Make It All Right is another decent pop song by Offspring. Same with Okay But This Is the Last Time, another good sort of poppy song. Truth and Fiction is a great punk rock song. Come to Brazil is just loads of fun, kind of thrashy punk rock thing. Get Some's a weird one. It kind of sounds like the Offspring doing ZZ Top. It's fun. Hanging by a Thread, also a really good punk rock song. And then I'd say the only real sort of like fillery track is the last one, You Can't Get There From Here, which is just kind of happens. It's not a bad song, just doesn't really hit in the same way. But they're all kind of like stylistically a bit all over the shop. So we got like a pop song, a punk rock song, radio rock stuff, thrash. ZZ Top is a bit classic rock, you know, like with the Get Some song. It's a bit all over the shop. It feels like a collection of singles and not an album. So yeah, strange record, but I don't dislike it. I actually think it's one of the better Offspring albums in recent years. But where do I think it's... I think it's another 7 out of 10. I feel comfortable having it on a similar level to Rise and Fall and the debut. It's got a lot of good stuff I like on it, but it's not super consistent. And I don't hate anything on it. It just feels a bit scattershot and a bit like unfocused. But for the most of it, it's a good, really enjoyable album. I've listened to it loads. I'm trying to think, like, let me just check and see my stats for the Offspring on Last FM. It's got to be up there. It might even be the most listened to Offspring record I've got on my... Yeah, it is. Listen to it loads, 120 scrolls. These stats only go back as far as 2012, so obviously it doesn't count for all the listening I did prior to that. But yeah, I've listened to Supercharged loads since last year. It's a really fun record. Yeah, big return to form. Sorry, let me get back on the old tier list there. Because yeah, I think it's time to rank these bad boys. Here we go. Okay. So the worst album then, is it Days Go By or Let the Bad Times Roll? And my heart thinks it's Days Go By. That is probably the worst Offspring album. But Let the Bad Times Roll is coming in close. It's not the worst, but it's not the best by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, we have a 6 out of 10, which is Splinter, and that's sensible. That seems right. Splinter definitely has better moments than either of these records. Yeah. Okay. 7 out of 10s then. We've got 3 of those. Okay. Interesting. As painful as it would be to put... Is it this or is it this? Let's get them all up there first. Okay, so it's these 3 that I've now got to figure out. Do I... Which one of these do I dislike the most? I think it's the original. I think it's the self-titled. I think that's number 8, and then I think it's Rise and Fall, and then I think it's Supercharged. Which is surprising because I really like these 3 albums. They're not bad records by any stretch of the imagination. Like I say, they are, you know, good records, 7 out of 10s. And it's very difficult to split them up that way, but I don't think I go back to the debut as much as I do Rise and Fall, and I've obviously just been hammering Supercharged these last couple of years. So I think that is where it needs to go. Okay, we've got a couple of 8 out of 10. So we've got Ignition and Ixnay. I think it's very easily 5 and 4. Ixnay is definitely a better album than Ignition, but Ignition is no slouch. That's a good damn album as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, but Ixnay's stronger. Which means we are into the top 3. God, I know so many people are going to be pissed off with my decision with putting Ixnay at number 4. That is like the number 1 for so many people. I think so many people were like smashing that Ixnay, but it's just the way I feel. Can't help it. This is a personal list. Right. Okay. So we got 2 9s, which is Americana and Conspiracy of One. I think it's Conspiracy and then Americana, which of course means Smash is number 1. And it was always going to be Smash. Smash is front to back the best Offspring record. Hands down. Like, no guff on it. I just want to listen to that album front to back, always. When it's on, it's on. I'm not skipping around. I'm not, oh, that's a duffer, get rid of that. That's filler, skip that. Just listen to the whole record. It's great. It's fucking awesome. And yeah, Americana, like, it's full of the hits. But it's also a really good record. It's got lots of good punk rock stuff. The album tracks really, really do it. And Conspiracy of One is probably the most diverse, like, in regards of styles. But it feels cohesive. And it's just a good time. It's a real good time. Like, again, singles aren't as strong as Americana, but following up Americana must have been an absolute nightmare, man. Like, all the hits on that record. And then, yeah, you're not going to make Pretty Fly for a White Guy and Why Can't You Get a Job just with the rest of your career. You've got to mix it up, and I think they did the right thing by Conspiracy of One. There we go. That is my rankings for Offspring records. I really appreciate anybody who came out and hung tonight. Like, this is a bit of a weird one, I understand. A lot of chatting, a lot of me deliberating and figuring out what's going on. But yeah, this was fun. I wanted to do music chat. I wanted to do something music related on stream or just video wise in general, and this felt like a good way to do this. And if you enjoyed it, like, we'll come back and do something else like this. I mean, I'd love to do Him, obviously. They're my favourite band of all time, so that would be a nice one to do. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate that. I'm just going to do some plugs real quick, and then we'll raid someone. So, music related. I would very much appreciate it if you could check out my podcast that I do with my mate Alan called Cast Iron Show, where we review metal albums. It's intermittent for sure, but like we have a lot of fun doing it, and we've done some really fun stuff. We also did most recently Black Sabbath's Master of Reality. We've done Trivium, we've done Roadrunner United, Soilwork, Dio, Killswitch, Mastodon, Korn, Napalm Death, Dream Theater, Gojira, I'm on a Marth, System of a Down, Metallica, Van Halen, just loads of stuff. Yeah, please go and check this out. This was an April Fool's episode, the Bad by Michael Jackson one, but I do really like that record. But yeah, so please, like, go and check that out. It's me talking about music. It's a thing I do intermittently, but I'm very passionate about it, and it's always a good time catching up with my mate Alan to record episodes for that. Also, go and check out SegaDriven.com and the YouTube channel, which has been regularly updating every week. I am now supported by Patreon backers who very, very generously financially support the making of Sega Driven videos. So I have to thank them loads. If you would like to back and support me, please, you know, if only do it if you can. But I would massively appreciate that support as well. Exciting news! I do have some temp work that I'm starting tomorrow, so I'm finally going to get back into earning some money, which I'm super chuffed with. So yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know how long it's going to last, but you know, I'm earning some money, which is nice to finally get back on the work track, and not just be, you know, firing out applications and getting rejections all the time. So yeah, really, really excited for that. But yeah, thank you very much. If you'd like to follow me personally, I'm on Blue Sky and Mastodon as Sonic Yoda. But let's go and find out who is streaming, and we will do a little raid, I think. But yeah, thank you all for watching. This has been a lot of fun. I really, really had a lot of fun doing this, and it was nice to do something music based instead of just gaming all the time. Oh, Richie's streaming. It's got to be Richie, right? So yeah, we're going to jump over to Wretched Morgan. Enjoy your evening, guys. Please hang out with Richie. He's a great lad and deserves your views. Take care.